I mean, I was going to throw Salabag.
He would probably just snarl and
Drink it.
his polite way of saying no. He just snarls. Sal's hungry when he gets even more
just
nonverbal.
No, I'm mad.
Just get angry about gaming industry stuff, and then get to really help you get in the mindset of playing a vampire who has this perpetual beast inside, screaming to get out. Right,
Now we go and feed.
Yeah.
We talk about this, or we go talk about. Never mind.
Yeah, fair. Good evening, everybody. I am Mephisto. I am the storyteller for Milwaukee by Night, Endless Elegy. This is part 10, Night Channels. You'll notice that we are one member light this evening. Abby could not, the player of Pix, could not join us. Her her neighborhood is having some maintenance done on the it sounds like web or perhaps electric grid or something like that. So she won't be joining us tonight. I will have a scene that sort of addresses her stepping aside from tonight's activities. But otherwise, the rest of the cast is here, and I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves, starting with Charlotte. How's it going, Charlotte? Oh, muted. Hey, there she is. How's it going, Charlotte?
Not bad. So what I was trying to say earlier twice was, sounds like the Nosferatu are up to their old tricks and just getting their little information network put in play under the guise of maintenance. Sorry, can't help it. Maintenance.
Yeah. See,
Artoriator's clanist.
There's times like this in our reality. In Milwaukee by Day, you might call part of the things that inspired Milwaukee by Night for me is where you're just like, that could totally be vampires, right? Midnight maintenance on like servers and stuff, like totally vampires installing Shrekneck.
Shrekneck 2.0.
Right, Shreknet 2.0. So how's it going, Charlotte? What you want to?
Not bad.
Yeah, playing Elizabeth this evening. If you got anything to shout out, if you'd like to.
Yeah, like Andrew said, I am Charlotte. I'm playing Elizabeth. Our coterie's Toreador, the one and the only. Yeah, if you want to check out any of the other things I got on the go, I got a few announcements kind of happening earlier on today. You can find me on Twitter at Foxfire22, FOXFYRE22. And yeah, it's kind of me for now. So I'm going to pass it on to Scott.
Nice.
I'm Scott. I'm playing Ben, our resident Tremere. And after the week I've had, I felt it was necessary to wear this sweatshirt. What would Jason do? Because we might be applying some of that logic tonight.
I like that you're getting excited to apply Jason logic, and we were kind of talking off stream, like, oh yeah, like Elysium adventure tonight, everyone. Like, I can't wait to see how that plays out. I can't wait to see. You got anything you want to shout out before we move on to the next party member?
Not too much. Just surviving till testing finishes up on the 28th.
Right on. And next up, we got the Tyromancer, the man with no name, Ty Brannigan. How's it going?
Like that, the Tyromancer. That might be my new Twitter handle.
It's a good one.
You might be getting rid of @FatKidSports.
I mean,
and switching over to Tyromancer.
I may have to. Hopefully, my 12 followers come with me. Um, I'm having an okay day and a better night because I get to play Vampire with you all, so I'm very excited. And I ate lasagna for dinner, so win-win.
Yeah, yeah, and you're of course like incidentally playing Salvatore, the Hecata.
I'm Salvatore, Clan Hecata, lasagna, Salvatore, mafioso there. It's unintentional.
But right on. Yeah, it's very serendipitous, if you will. So it should be a pretty great evening, like you said. This is why RPGs are great. You have a bad day, go to a different world.
Yep.
Just go to a different world. And last but not least, my oldest friend in the world, Sam. How's it going?
I'm doing all right. I'm Sam. I'll be playing Cass, and solidarity with the proletariat. Fuck our financial capitalist masters.
Like, we just lost like a few subs. We didn't want them anyway, but we just gained so many cooler ones. So
every so often, when you introduce Sam, I want to ask, "How old are you, Sam?" Because you say my oldest friend, and it's the whole like, he's a vampire, and I'm centuries old.
No, see, if anyone really is a vampire in our group, I've got money on it being potentially Charlotte, like IRL, like note the like lack of lighting, currently, or myself. Like I moved around so much growing up that like it would make perfect sense that like I was in it, I was just using the whole orphan backstory as a cover, for the fact that I, my parents died like 100 years ago. And now, like any proper, several 100-year-old vampire, lich lord sort, I'm going to run an adventure about vampires in Milwaukee, my favorite city on earth. I am, of course, as I mentioned at the jump there, the magical Mr. Mephisto, patent pending, moniker pending, for my intros here. I'm your storyteller. I'm just going to tell a story about vampires. I think I'm about to get sued by Jason Carl, too, because his whole thing is like, let's tell a story about vampires.
Now let's tell a vampire story.
That's what it is. That's what it is for that.
Well, don't tell him that, because they're going to make him get closer and closer, and then he's going to actually get sued.
But that means that he would have to actually come and watch us do this, which would be street cred on itself.
Right, and then I would be in the courtroom like, could you sign my deposition, or
I'm fine with this as long as you sign this.
Yeah, like the most expensive autograph ever.
Jason Carl served me papers. Yes, autograph secured.
Got to frame that.
I feel like I've heard this story before. Oh, Big Bang Theory.
Oh no!
When he got sued by Nimoy.
We were in such a good mood. You had to. It was going so well. It was going so well. But my dislike of the Big Bang Theory is Milwaukee by day. This is Vampire. This is Milwaukee by night. As we last left off last week with the coterie, they had just essentially met with Athena, and Issa had a wild experience. We're not quite maybe certain what's going on there, but there ended up with sort of two versions of Athena, one slightly corpseified and one slightly less corpseified, like an unliving corpse, vampire Athena. Sorry, Athena. Two versions of Athena, one corpseified, one slightly less corpseified. And Elizabeth had the very prescient idea to pretty much tie up this entire thing with a picture of a deceased Athena, perhaps even requisitioning the deceased one, because in a world of vampires, maybe a picture's not good enough. But I'm not certain what the party decided to do there. If you want to real quick fill me in on what y'all did with that, or what the resolution of that was, because we kind of got out there at the end.
Yeah, so my plan was to get a picture of the body to take back to Decker, just to kind of wrap that up. And then I also had the suggestion that we just stake the quote-unquote living Athena and throw her at the bottom of the lake. Because we were just informed that she might be the cause of the end of the world. So, what better place?
What if staking her and throwing her to the bottom of the lake is what causes the end of the world?
I think Issa had informed us that there was something far worse at the bottom of that lake.
I mean, we could change what lake we throw her into.
There are
I
other
mean,
lakes nearby.
if we look at, like, what is it, Lake Ontario or Lake Erie, there are ships down there that have been down there for 100 years.
Lake Superior, they still have
Superior,
recovered.
most shipwrecks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? So I am pretty confident that if we toss her down there, she'd be cool. And staking her first would be an act of mercy.
That's preservation.
I really hope this is in character in front of her right now.
I don't know. Are we still there?
I think the coterie has dispersed for the evening. Elizabeth with her photographic evidence that the Athena situation has been resolved.
Almost.
And you... Go ahead.
I would want to send a message to everyone afterwards that, you know what, I've been thinking. So the picture is great and all, but that's still... We have a chance to really drive one home or hit a home run, as it were, with Decker and give him somebody else that was potentially feeding her information, because there's two Athenas. There's a vampire Athena. There's a human Athena. We're told that the human Athena was the one that was at the concert. So who is feeding the human Athena information? Sure wasn't Nails. Nails doesn't talk, and Nails is old enough to fucking know damn well better than to leak the secrets that we have. So the only one in the group that would have been able to leak it to her is her band manager. So I say we find that slimy bastard, haul him before Decker, tell him what was up. If we're wrong, well, so be it. If we're wrong, Decker won't know any different. We'll be on the up and up, even more than we already are.
Why not tell him the story we want and just present a corpse?
Whose corpse?
Tomlin, the car salesman.
Well, that's the problem. We can't give them a corpse. We don't know how old he is. At the moment that we deal with him, he might wither into dust. So we would have to stake him. We bring him there. If he gets unstaked again, because we did that the first time, who's to say what he would say? We now have somebody who can disprove and discredit what we're trying to pass off.
It'd be awful hard for him to talk. I can make it to where he can't talk.
Well, like everything
But we have
else.
to find him first.
Yes, and that's where I was hoping that we would have Pix with us to go find her little friend Sundown, play nice. And nice is like bolded, highlighted, inflection on nice. Everyone knows it's directed at Sal. Play nice and get some information on where this guy is.
If you're going to try to locate him, then Elysium or a similar gathering place would be the best place to look without picks.
True. Do you really think he's the type to frequent Elysium, though?
He might not, but somebody who knows where he's at might.
That's the problem, though. They came in under the cover of darkness, so to speak, and no one even knew that they were here to begin with.
We just follow the scent of cheap cigarettes and old
And even
suits.
cheaper cologne.
He's a very specific style of clothing he likes.
Was that like 1970s zoot suits or whatever they were?
And he lost part of it when he ran away from us. So someone had to have sold him something.
Can you imagine being his ghoul?
He also said something, I forget exactly what it was. It made me think that he had some sort of contact here. It sounds like the concert was staged somehow by a party perhaps in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think I vaguely recall that, but it's been a wild last few nights. Kind of hard to remember exactly how everything went down.
Fair enough. I have a hard enough time distinguishing between the past, present, and my dream world.
Yeah, I really wish you would keep that one to yourself.
Do my best, boss lady.
I love seeing the Elizabeth's the kind of Toreador that makes a Ventrue scared. Sort of when a Toreador really takes control of a scene and all that. That bravado and stuff starts to come out, and while still being a clan that's tapped into humanity, really, this is why Ventrue are scared. But you'll note that, speaking of Ventrue, they tend to dress from their time period as a clan. I don't know what you'd call it. Not quite a weakness, just a little bit
Well,
of
it depends on the era. It could be a weakness. It could be a flaw.
quite a quirk in any case. And Tomlin, the band manager, did allude to somebody helping them in the city. So that much is corroborated as your memories sort of like reflect on these last few wild nights. Few wild nights, right? You seem to all recall Tomlin did mention some sort of contact, someone slipping him information, something along those lines. Tomlin, you're not certain if brought before Decker could... Tomlin didn't strike you as the most likable sort, and you're not certain how well Tomlin would be able to... Tomlin barely escaped, a few neonates and, Melkavian Ancillae's discerning gaze, right? You're not certain someone like Decker would be as forgiving. So that seems okay. Maybe staking, putting him in front, and his word against all of y'all's, and you've gotten results, which is something Tomlin hasn't done. You've announced yourselves, mostly, which is something Tomlin hasn't done. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't seem like too bad of an idea. Who knows? But as it's been pointed out, you got to find Tomlin first. So it's a mere matter of maybe an hour, couple hours before dawn, though. So that's an issue for another night. It's time to retire for the evening. You all sort of, maybe Elizabeth hops a ride with Ben, since they're kind of headed the same general direction. Maybe Cass does it. Maybe Cass hops a ride with Salvatore, who calls Jimmy. And as we sort of see the taillights of Ben's mighty fine truck and Jimmy's nondescript sedan, we hear like the crackled voice over radio coming from one of the respective vehicles. Live from Nexus Control, broadcasting from places unknown, it's Midnight Nation. That's NITE. We're not getting sued by Straczynski again. I'm your forever host for the evening, Laszlo, and with me as always, my partner in the paranormal, Paranora. It's just Nora. Just Nora. Nora takes over. That's right, everybody. Nora here. Get plugged into the Nexus, ladies, gentlemen, and all our NB friends, because tonight is going to be a wild one. Laszlo thinks he saw an alien again. Not an alien, an orbital entity that was outside of our atmosphere. A comet. It was a comet, a red-tailed comet. And Jimmy turns the radio off, and Salvatore notices Jimmy's new haircut.
Did you dye your hair?
Nah, boss. You know me. Kept the same hair for 30 years.
It's shorter.
You okay, boss? That werewolf give you a couple punches to the head?
You still went to the barber shop over on Brady?
Yeah. Always. Like I said, 30 years. Only one who does it right. And you like kind of taps like the high and tight, you know?
Is Cass still in the car with him?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do a wits insight. Four successes.
Jimmy believes what he's saying is true. So, like up and down, top to bottom.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
he even has a little like twinge of like worry in his voice with his boss seeming a little off his rocker right now.
Gotcha. Okay. He's more. That's what's disturbing him. All right. Cass will just mutter. He's like, he's telling the truth.
Used to be longer. Always longer.
You will note that the radio, which Jimmy has muted, is on an FM frequency instead of an AM frequency. Listening to one of like the low 80s channels, you know. Hand on head. Creepy MKE was the name of their show before, and it was an AM show.
Midnight Nation.
NITE, we're not getting sued by Straczynski. The party retires home for the coterie. It's official now. The coterie retires home for the evening, and their various havens across the city. We get one sort of lingering shot of Pix returning to hers, maybe hopped a ride with Ben and Elizabeth, as they were also kind of heading more downtown-ish, right? And we sort of have like the camera behind Pix as she waits until it's clear she's obfuscated, but we have an omniscient side of her and watch them, the sort of last couple of folks on the river walk unintentionally, not even realizing, walk around her, as is the power of obfuscate. It's as much a mental as it is a physical thing, right? Notice, sort of does a double take, enters into the pulled away sewer bars of the storm drain, the oversized storm drain that spills into the Milwaukee River. She heads in, takes her little sort of winding path through a couple extra tunnels, and heads to the door. We see her hand push the door open. You hear Batty sort of give out a little bit of a chirp and she looks on the bed where Nails' inanimate corpse should be, and sees instead a note. The note reads, "I know who took him. SD." And then her phone rings. And it's the next evening. As it sort of quick cuts to maybe Elizabeth opening up her drapes in her familiar apartment, comfortably staring out over the balcony she did the previous night, maybe half expecting a pigeon again, and taking in the same Milwaukee skyline. She's maybe come to, I don't know, lament. Like, what's Elizabeth's emotion staring out over this familiar landscape that's not her home, but...
Of all the places, why did it have to be Milwaukee?
She maybe says audibly as she pulls open the curtains.
Of all the 2-bit towns I could have gone to, why did it have to be Milwaukee?
Yeah. So, you'll find your like I said, your familiar haven, so on and so forth, waiting for you. And you had a bit of a plan with the coterie, so I don't know if you call them up. You're the one with the tech, with the mobile proficiency to make sure that you're staying in masquerade bounds. So if you want to maybe coordinate the coterie this evening.
Yeah, I figure I would contact them through our normal means, whether that's calling on flip phones or texting or whatever the deal is.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyone have any ideas for tonight?
We see various text messages going out, maybe Cass at the one last payphone in all of Milwaukee, we just sort of have this rotating. We'll be doing the it's you can converse in real time, role play through it, but we have the understanding that it's in various text and multimedia formats.
You want to update Decker?
Do we want to find what's his face first? 2 birds, 1 stone, or drip feed him victory after victory?
Well, I figure if we're going to find him, we're going to need to talk to Nosferatu or somebody that might know where he's at. We'd have to start with Elysium, since we can't just walk into the scum hole and have them open their arms and tell you all the secrets.
True, if a specific so-and-so didn't do something inflammatory to someone's place of business, we would have had a little bit of an idea of where to find one of them.
If we kept a cleaner house, it wouldn't have been so flammable.
Inflammatory.
I can flush the rat out of more holes if we need.
We gotta find those holes first, and after what happened last time, I don't think he's gonna be too keen on telling us where he maintains his own residence.
He didn't hide that well anyway.
All we need is some cheese to get this rat out of heading, right?
True.
You'll note, Elizabeth, you tried to call Pix a couple times, or whatever your normal means is. She's kind of ghosting y'all right now. She seems to be anyway. She maybe Ben, Sahar, maybe they try to reach out to Pix as well at some point, and receives an auto reply back. I'm not talking to you right now. You know what you did.
I mean, if any of us can get a hold of him, maybe Pix. Speaking of, has anyone heard from her yet tonight?
Nope.
I've not heard from the little bats.
Peep.
Should we swing by and make sure everything's okay, or just let her come out to play when she's ready?
It's up to you.
Why is it up to me? Right? Coterie does rhyme with democracy.
Coterie only implies that we work together. That doesn't imply anything else.
We check on the little bat.
And then what? We haven't really been to Elysium much yet, have we? We could potentially look for some information there on Tomlin.
Or at the very least, somebody who could point us in the direction of Tomlin. If I could get a hold of one of his effects, I can find him.
You might have the chair leg Tomlin was staked with, come to think of it.
What about that garment he left behind?
I mean, if I had it, yeah.
I'm going to allow either a straight luck check to see if you kept it, or if you think it's within character reason that your character would have kept it and not need to rely on, happenstance that you did. You can roll like an intelligence.
Unfortunately, because of the way I lost him, I probably wouldn't have thought of it at the time.
So luck check, straight D10.
If I'm going to be honest.
I honestly appreciate it. It makes this better.
6.
You kept it. It was one of those like stuffed it in your jacket pocket type things. Like sort of unconsciously, and you're sort of reflecting. You're like, oh, that's right. I put it in my pocket.
It's like when I collect people's blood.
And you're like, oh no, I love that jacket. And he was covered in blood, and that blood's in the. I gotta get that. That's not gonna dry clean. And you're just like, now you're lamenting the jacket.
Or I'm like, it's his blood. I can find it.
Right. Yeah.
We're gonna have a weird thing with blood and stuff.
Yeah. And imagine the reaction, a vampire's reaction to blood on their clothing is actually a little bit different from my mere mortal understanding.
Leftovers, saving that for later.
Right.
Right on. You've as luck would have it, you've got a garment.
All right. Is there anything else you want to do before we try to roll and look for Tomlin? Anything else?
I'll just check on picks, and then
Do any of us need to clear some hunger?
I mean, that would probably be a good idea.
Almost with upon speaking it into reality, Elizabeth's words just stir something inside each and every one of you. Even just reading the word hunger in a text message, you're reminded of this thing, just this passenger in your own body, in your own skin. Roll it.
cast passes.
Per usual, Salvatore fails.
I finally passed one. Yes!
Hungry little Hecata.
I gain a point of hunger.
Hungry Hippos is a fun game, but Hungry Hecatas would be an even more fun game.
To be fair, though, last time you were hungry, I got a cool.
That's true. Can we
I'm not upset about this.
2 for 2?
What is everyone's hunger at right now?
1.
Cass is 0.
That was a really satiating wildkin, basically.
Keep you full for days.
Ben
Greedy
Sahar.
for
So at two Ben Sahar, it's becoming an active like sort of whisper in your head, an active craving, the urge is there, and every time maybe you're at your club,
Go
like
see my people.
yeah, whatever it's very like it's not one is like pangs, right? At 2, it's an active thing. By the time you're to 3, however, like Salvatore, you've got a fever, and the only prescription is blood.
I heard it's cowbell.
That's a different reality. If you slipped into like where everyone's on the cast on like a sketch comedy show, like Salvatore does, Van Down by the River bits, Elizabeth and Cass team up to do like a cheerleader bit or whatever, like motivational speakers, like Ben is a dancer. Salvatore, it's you're you can feel your beast within. It's hungry. It needs to feed. It's kind of becoming the dominant thought on your mind at this point. You're maybe even feeling a little fatigued. A lot has happened these last few evenings. Was that a... Oh, so hand update.
Yeah.
Luck check.
Let's get lucky.
Congratulations, you found your hand sitting on the floor of your room.
Your hand actually grew back overnight.
Whoa.
You're rather surprised.
I have a hand again.
You didn't cauterize it, did you?
You were expecting it to be gone forever when you rejected the hand from the tree. To be fair, luck checks are a little bit more dramatic when it's a D20. When it's a D10, it's más o menos, right?
Have you ended up on the hand side of that luck check?
I thought it would have been sweet for you to go full like Ash from Evil Dead for the whole rest of the campaign, personally, but
I would have been finding like a metal worker in Milwaukee to like craft the.
Yeah, that could have been really sweet. I feel like a different reality just spawned from this one, where the whole campaign is how you don't have your hand, but player agency and body stuff, I don't want to do permanent disfigurement. So, me being a dirty bleeding heart.
So if we're headed to Elysium after checking on picks, I mean, Sal is likely to just demand Jimmy give him a ride to a part of town and find one of the corner pushers or drug dealer. There's that, like, there are some crimes that are below the level of what Salvatore demands or expects. So that that's another demographic largely of his.
Yeah, you do respectable crime, right? Like
yeah, protection and murder for hire, and
yeah, respectable crime.
You sell drugs or rob people though, and
yeah. Even though you rose through the ranks, like doing a couple B&Es and stuff.
Yeah, but now I don't.
Yeah, now you keep your nose clean, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Salvatore awakes to a reality where his hand is back to normal. And this stab at the base of his skull. Now, vampires being undead creatures don't necessarily like have, nerves that are live and active at all times, right? But it can only be described as a pain. It's almost like when you hear like a subsonic noise, and it just gets in your eardrum, and you can feel the pinch it's doing that, but at the sort of base of your skull, and you just have this almost like subsonic pain, and it's you wake up almost to like flashes of the trees, and you've been having this phone conversation or however, and you just you hang up, and you're staring out maybe the window onto a lawn, your Brady Street or your Brewer Hill or whatever house that you got. Where is you need out
lower Lower East Side.
Yeah, Lower
near
East.
Brady.
Yeah. So about where I used to live. So staring out at an actual lawn at a nice little residential neighborhood, maybe like the Roots, brunch spot is down the road from you, right? And you just, as you're doing this, you're just getting these flashes of the tree. And that pain, and you're able to sort of push it out almost because the hunger of the beast, and you fixate on the blood, and these flashes of this tree finally like make their way out your head, but that pain at the base of your skull doesn't go away as you're looking at your hand. You still owe it something. Out or in, sure. You reversed course, and you saw that there was a little bit more to it than maybe what you initially had. But now you're invested. You got to see this through. You still owe it. A sacrifice of kin. And that's a thought you push out your head as you're like, no. I owe me blood. I owe myself a meal.
It seems the tree never truly leaves you.
Plus 1 XP, everybody, right now. There's too many good puns, I can't.
I tell you that we're going to get to the root of this tree problem.
All right. So. Yeah.
Maybe
So.
cut it out.
Oh, yeah. It's just as long as nobody asks any personal questions. I have to make the worst joke of the lot, okay? You can't one-up me in corny puns. My ST credit is on the line. So you make the decision to check in on picks. Whilst the coterie checks in on picks, you've got a ritual to get going. So we'll have you get your ritual going. Any components you need? No?
Just a silk ribbon.
So you're all right. You can go ahead and roll that real quick if you want. It takes some time to prepare the ritual. Light some candles, get the mood right.
It takes a couple minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You did the
6,
sewer.
7.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I stopped it. Go back. Do it again. 7?
7 successes on there. Yep.
So would you like to describe what you're doing for the audience here?
So when we enact this ritual, I'm going to soak the ribbon in blood, and as you start doing the incantation, it catches on fire, and as soon as the ribbon burns, even though it's wet, it'll illuminate a silver trail to the target. Unfortunately, because I didn't get a crit, it'll only work for tonight.
So time is of the essence, but the night is young, and there's all kinds of stuff you can get into, like a sewer, where the rest of the coterie finds itself currently. Elizabeth is standing at the sewer grate. Cass and Salvatore both followed Pix in, so they might recall the sort of labyrinthian path she took to her haven. Elizabeth herself did not go inside before, because sewer. But essentially you have this sort of a large overspill drain right off the Riverwalk. Sort of spilling into Milwaukee, and you can take a little bit of like a busted path of brick and some, like where they were going to build the Riverwalk but decided against it because it's not as pretty over here, so they built it on the other side of the river type thing. You have this entrance.
Coming in this time, Elizabeth?
Yeah, I think so. Should probably pay her a visit.
Salvatore, you can't help but notice all the denizens of the Riverwalk. You can see a, like couple holding hands on a walk across the way, and you can almost smell them. Up on that bridge up there, someone like posing with the bronze fawns, even though it's like blocks down. That glint of the bronze fawns catches your eye, but then it's the glisten of the veins under the flesh of the other person. Like full predator mode comes out. You are looking through this urban jungle and seeing all these mortals, and there's something in you that's holding you back from, going after just random folk. Like you have some sort of preference.
In we go.
Nice. All right, y'all head in. I'm going to let Cass go ahead and roll. Could be an intelligence and like every night I forget to open up my books.
Yes, please roll somewhere between 7 and 12 dice to find something. Thank you.
Will this be like an investigation?
Yeah, intelligence investigation. We'll go with that.
All right. Well, I can't even get close to that amount. Any dice?
I mean, you could rouse to get some extra dice.
All right, let's do that. Ooh, I gain a hunger.
The craving that Wildkin clenched finally wore off. When you have like the perfect meal and you're like, I don't need to eat for 2 days. That's over.
So with Sal, are we starting to see him get a little antsy?
At 3 hunger, I think it's apparent in those ways that another kindred would notice, right? Not necessarily kind, but you can see it.
Gotcha.
It seems a little bit more distracted, especially for Sal, who's a pretty kind of a being of supreme focus, right?
I only got 2 successes.
That's enough to get you there because you've been there before. I'll say. It's you waste some time doing it. You spend about an hour instead of like a quick like the straight path there. So you've wasted an hour this evening, type thing. But you get there. So you see the familiar like security door to what would have been like a whatever like utility closet, workers area that she sort of retrofitted into a haven. You've been there before. You open the door, and inside, no picks, more notably no nails. A fridge perfectly stocked with blood packs, however. And a note sort of laying on the floor, sort of like almost, I'm going to say, just for like the visual effect of it, Elizabeth's, are you, how did Elizabeth approach the scene this evening as a Toreador? Is she dressed to the nines? Is she going for more of her street clothes? She had plans for Elysium. Where are we at here? Because I guess what I'm asking is how nice are your shoes and or boots? Were they before you step on the note?
They were nice.
Super nice before. No
like black leather boots.
Ooh, yeah. So like you can even see like the scuff marks on them now, and like they're just drenched in. So this is storm drain, so it's not that type of sewer, but I mean, you still get like plant matter and all kind of decaying stuff, and so you just like muck, right, all on these nice boots, and you step on a note, yellow sort of legal paper or something.
Oh, hello. I'll bend down and pick it up.
Pick it up, and you've got a nice little boot print. Happens to have missed all the text because it's a large piece of paper, and it just reads simply, "I know who took them. SD. -SD."
Well, it looks like our buddy Sundown has some more information that we're going to need. And I'm assuming that Pix is gone to go talk to him. I'll hand the note off to whoever's closest to me at the time.
Cass is going through her fridge.
I'd imagine it's Salvatore.
Or Sundown took him up to his old tricks of fucking with our picks.
I don't think he would do something like that. Cass, while you're in there, can you pass me one of those?
Sure thing, boss.
As a side note, that's the only reason why I came here.
This is one of those, like, I can imagine the scene in a LARP, and like your character sort of like having like this reserved, not wanting to be there, but having the beast be like, we know Pix has a stash, and like that's the real override to go here. And I could just imagine like the scenes, leading up to this whole moment. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not something that I can just go to anybody on the street and say, "Hey, can I borrow this?"
Yeah, fantastic. Is provided you are at a correct blood potency level, you can use or have the correct merits. You can get some. You can restore a hunger.
I don't have any merits that help that. I don't think.
I think your blood potency you still can.
At yours, you should be all right. Yeah.
I think I need twice as many. So Cass will be double fisting it.
I'll let y'all go ahead and look that up. I'm gonna take.
I'm only at one potency.
I believe you're all right. The reason I let Pix's blood bond work via because normally vampire blood has to be fresh when you do blood bonds. The reason I let hers work is because she has explicitly like the bagger merit or whatever. But I believe others can use blood bags. It's just like not their favorite because there's like anticoagulants and stuff in it that make it work. It's just you need to be once you get above a certain blood potency rank, you need twice the amount, and once
blood potency 2 is bags do half.
Yeah, so bags do half. So it's more tied to blood potency than anything else. The coterie has gathered themselves. Elizabeth has worked the long con. Cost her a pair of boots in the process, but
I'll clean them before I get in there.
Yeah. You will have found that Pix's fridge was well stocked, so it's not like she's been ransacked or anything like that. This seems like she sort of read a note.
I mean, who would ransack Pix, right?
Who would know where she lives beyond Sundance and the coterie?
Can we start calling him Sundance?
Sorry, Sundown.
No, please. Can we start calling him Sundance?
Sundance. That makes
only if you do it to his face.
That makes him cooler. It makes him cooler though. He's supposed to be kind of like sniveling and weaselly, right? I did miss the part. Did you didn't partake in the blood bags?
No, Salvatore snarled when offered.
Fantastic.
Almost threw it at him.
So Elysium in Milwaukee is established to be the art museum. I think I have a scene for this. It's established to be the art museum. There is also the sabbatical, which is sort of a supernatural in general Elysium. But your if you go to that sort of cold, keeping in mind all the other type of supernaturals, one thing I like to communicate to vampire players when they begin playing vampire is folks think of Elysium as like a safe space, kind of erroneously. The problem with Elysium is people think of Elysium as a safe space erroneously. Now, there might not be any, outright violence and that sort of thing at Elysium, but everybody is always listening. Everybody always has somebody there to learn something, to trade secrets, that sort of thing. So Elysium is actually the most dangerous place, I think, Kindred can congregate. Now, Decker's Law has a rule against more than 9 vampires congregating in a single place. It is suspended in 2 places, and 2 places alone. The Milwaukee Art Museum, the Calatrava, as is also known by the Spanish architect who designed it, and Miller Park. It's the only 2 places. Not Pfizer Forum. Weird. But it's those 2 places. It's suspended. And those 2 alone. Now, the coterie will find that the Calatrava is open 24 hours in Milwaukee by night. And it isn't as active as you can almost imagine it being a decade or 2 prior. It's actually a little bit of a sort of a ghost museum at this point. Not in terms of like literal ghosts, but it's a little bit vacant. The displays are immaculate. They actually have a little like science museum in the basement, which is like super awesome. And they've got like a separate kids museum and all kinds of stuff. And they rotate through their various exhibits as one would expect. And this month's or this season's exhibit, you're sort of on the tail end of an exhibit that is. Hang on a second, checking my notes. You're on the tail end of an exhibit that's all about perspective. So it's a bunch of like perspective drawings and like, but it being the Milwaukee Art Museum, it is super pretentious stuff. So like really like like playing with perspective. Like here's a worm's eye view, and then like it's only the foot. Like really really pretentious stuff like that. Well done, mind you, by internationally famed artists and stuff, but it's still super pretentious. The kind of thing Mephisto IRL would just absolutely adore, quite frankly.
On our way there, I'd ask Ben if he had a chance to do that ritual.
I did, and I can follow it.
Are we heading in the right direction, or is he somewhere else?
So the Calatrava is essentially propped over Lake Michigan, and it is sort of designed to look like a seagull, like a sea crane or whatever. It's not specifically a seagull, like flying out over it, especially when it casts its shadow into Lake Michigan. And it is just sort of like off downtown. Your thread happens to head downtown. It veers away from the Calatrava, but you're in the right neighborhood.
So as we pass that, I'll be like, we were going that way until it went that way. And then I'll judge you towards the change in direction.
Yeah, basically like you could, if you would have went like left onto Grand Avenue instead of right, it was like you were in the right place.
Do we want to follow it or head to Elysium?
I mean, I feel like we should maybe check it out real quick because it only works for one night.
I agree.
Yeah, time is of the essence.
I'm surprised he's still in town, to be honest.
It's been like one night.
I don't know. This place seems like one of those places where it's easy to get in, hard to get out.
True stories.
Because you guys aren't Tremere.
Chicago to the south, werewolves all around.
Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
Lulu's been watching Grace and Frankie, and that's the intro song, and so it's been stuck in my head for like a month.
You're welcome.
Thank you. No. It only abates when I listen to the new Kendrick Lamar album. Yeah, so you have an opportunity to veer left. You choose to head down that way. Now you hit sort of downtown Milwaukee, where the skyscrapers are aplenty. You have this interesting sort of contrast between just, for lack of a better term, ancient brick buildings with some random new high glass architecture to draw the eye and bring folks in, and a amazing network of essentially sky bridges. You don't need to step foot down on pavement downtown Milwaukee if you know the right routes through the sky bridges. You can just network through all these office buildings and old hotels and parking garages and stuff, and never have to actually touch the pavement, which is rather convenient for vampires, you might think. Especially considering that some of these hotels and office buildings, if you know the right doors, are always open, always unlocked. And the old Grand Avenue Mall sort of nestles itself at the sort of old heart of Milwaukee, which is at one point in time the old was a Gimbel's. One of the flagship stores was here. Once upon a time, Gimbel's has it, right? The old flagship store was here. It was one of the first malls of its nature, which was just this multi-structural thing, again with the sky bridges coming across over to it. Once upon a time in Milwaukee, it was the shopping epicenter.
Is that where the thread goes?
It is. These days...
Of course.
These days, it's mostly abandoned storefronts and a couple office spaces rented out with the sort of burst and bloom novelty stores that rent the couple booths outside and the one or two remaining manageable manageable property centers inside the mall itself. It is a multi-floored, kind of a mini Mall of America if anyone's been in the audience. Would have been somewhat of a blueprint for it if you can imagine the 1970s, 1950s sort of stripped down brick building version of it. Once upon a time, absolute sight to behold, and now sort of a sadness. As you see, it's just a skeleton of commerce.
Well, once we get to the point where the trail doesn't follow roads anymore, we'll have to exit the vehicle.
So, you make your way to the Grand Avenue Mall. It takes up multiple blocks, all along one block, multi-leveled brick building with all these sky bridges that come to it. And there's a parking structure built off to the side. And this thread is heading right into the sort of heart of the of Grand Avenue Mall. Now, at this time of night, it's still early. There is still commerce, mostly tourists, trying to get a snap picture of one of the again the Gimbel's flagship store. They've redone it now and restored it as a tourist trap. It doesn't actually sell anything beyond novelty stuff advertising Gimbel's, which is kind of like the original Walmart for those who aren't familiar. I'm getting that right, Ty. Right, Gimbel's? It was
Gimbel's, yeah, it was like a department store.
Yeah, it was one of the first, Sears, one of the first.
Current day, the only two retail establishments left in the Grand Avenue Mall is a TJ Maxx and a Foot Locker. There's now a 3rd Street Market Hall, a lot of up and coming restaurants and stuff, and offices
It's
and apartments,
super depressing to go to the Grand
and
Avenue
a
Mall right
Planet
now.
Fitness. Borders Bookstore is now a Planet Fitness.
Yeah. The last time I went through the Grand Avenue Mall, my soul got punched. It was.
It's
Yeah.
pretty different now. I'll take some pictures tomorrow. I'll take a walk during work and send you all some.
Yeah, like and subscribe, and we'll share those with you on the Discord or whatever.
Looks like there's a kidney care place there too.
Yeah, but there happen to be 3 establishments in Milwaukee by night. There's a Foot Locker, a TJ Maxx, and a place at the very, very end, sort of back past the fountain, off to where it splits into escalators going up into office buildings and the gym, and then some of the sky bridges and stuff, and the weird places that you can get lost in the Grand Avenue Mall, and another one of those moments where vampires could totally be here, because it's wild. At the very, very back, there's a place called Grander's Vanity, selling vintage clothes. It currently has the little steel gate down over what is essentially a retrofitted Spencer's Gifts to be a vintage clothing store. And that's exactly where this thread goes.
You guys ready to go shopping? I don't know, point at it.
Not really.
Shoplifting? I have no money.
You're a terrible shopper.
I mean, if you do find something you like, let me know and I'll pick it up for you. Not too keen on the vintage look.
Sal, vintage.
You just get that grunt from Sal.
Ironic, because I'm probably older than you.
His attention is on the rumbling in his belly.
As I said, you're still in business hours, so the kind are all about less about the normal. They're mostly paying attention to the bar stretch that spreads out north-south and then west, right? Because Grand Avenue is on a T junction. So there's some swanky, fine dining around this area. Fantastic bars. And again, just this skeleton of commerce, this skeleton of retail sitting over here on the other side.
Hey Sal, you want to open the gate?
Yeah, or we look for a back door. Most of these stores would have a back access hallway, interior maintenance.
Sure.
Sal's not wrong. There's essentially veins that go behind all the storefronts that connect them all. That would be your...
I mean, that's common for malls.
Correct. Grand Avenue's no different. And it's just a matter of finding the sort of right artery. You head where maybe a food court might have been one time, and you think you can see the sort of sun faded emblem for a Sally Mae's. That's the pretzel place, right? Or a Cinnabon or something. And then you can see a sort of corridor that heads back to some restrooms, a nursing area for parents, and then one lone security guard by a double pair of doors, arms crossed, a rather portly fellow wearing aviator glasses, a sort of comb over, proudly displaying a hickory stick on the one hip, a taser on the other, and a notepad in the lapel.
All right.
Hey, I was going to say, Elizabeth, do you want to go ask him for the keys?
Is a hickory stick a baton?
Yeah.
He definitely has one of the worst mustaches you can grow.
Oh, it's not even like the proper like comb, you know. It's like it's grown in unevenly. It's yeah.
Is this one of those times where you won't tolerate violence? Shout looks at Elizabeth.
As long as I'm not the one perpetrating it, this guy, for some reason, I feel like he would respond better to you than me. Dapper fella like yourself, kind of coming up with all the attitude. Yeah.
Al strides up to him.
Oh, there, son, you're entering the perimeter of what is not allowed.
If you want to draw another breath, you will step aside.
Can't do that, big fellow. I am here to secure the perimeter. You are inside of the perimeter. And he like pulls the aviator down slightly.
So I'll do the quick blind spot check, making sure there's no passerbys.
No passerbys, but there is a camera. Like direct on this door. Like basically you've got like sort of to your rear, you've got where like the hall you came down, but you know, sort of just around the corner from that, you've got your bathrooms that branch off. You've got a little bit of a sitting area / nursing area for parents, some some vending machines, and then you sort of like continue down the hall, and you've got guard here, last name Chubb. You see on the little thing.
Quick masquerade question for the uninitiated. Are we worried about this camera thing, or is that like we're worried about this camera thing?
You are when you're on camera.
Okay.
Which is why I was asking Elizabeth originally to go talk to him, because she has a thing called presence.
I don't have that.
I know. Even if she's just slightly going, hey man, come over here, not in the line of the camera. And then you could have physically assaulted him.
I was curious as to how this is going to play out.
Look, sees the camera.
Yeah, so Cell sees the camera, and security officer Chubb seems to like puff up a little bit. That's right, sir. You're gonna have to respect the hickory. Seeing that you notice the camera.
Chubb, I have a very important.
Security officer Chubb to you, sir.
Chubb, step aside from the door.
Afraid I can't do that, Chief.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and approach the discussion.
I mean, you could roll an intimidate if you'd like to try to like intimidate Officer Chubb or Security Officer Chubb.
Just intimidation, or is that like a?
It would be intimidation.
Intimidation if you're trying to use muscle. Are you trying to like muscle intimidate him, or are you trying to what?
I don't do anything other than look big and
so
like I could hurt you.
So strength intimidation, in other words.
You gonna go flex on him?
You mean there are other kinds of intimidation?
Yeah, there's like.
Oh yeah.
No. I do have that.
I'll show you my collection style.
Rouse check hanging out still.
Yep. It'll expire next session, so I give you three to use it.
I don't even need it.
Ooh.
Oh, there, Buckaroo. Look, I'm gonna have to. And he takes a step backwards. Oh, there. Look, you're not respecting the hickory, and you're not there looking at Big Brother, who's got you right here, dead eye. So I'm gonna. He you can see him start to sweat. I'm
Bell placed his hand on the door handle.
Look, you're in violation of Mall Code CB368. There with the hand on you're inside the perimeter. But if you wanna, get crazy about it, I'm gonna have to file a report. And he's moving towards the vending machine at this point, back up against the vending machine and hand on the hickory stick.
Sal just opens the door.
Okay, that report is gonna be immediately to my CO. That's a corroborating officer for the security force here, sir.
Have a good night.
So, hey,
Sure.
Cass, can you do something about his? Thank you. Can you fix that for us?
Castle.
Oh, well there, veteran, sir. Thank you for your service, sir. But you're in violation of
Of what? And then Castle do cloud the senses.
I was really hoping he was going to eat him.
Night's so young.
Can you direct him back through the door where Sal just went?
Oh, we can.
Think that's a good idea? Somebody's a little hungry.
Both. I was gonna say I'm at 2, and he's at 3. We got more than a couple people.
not Officer Chubb. No.
Sal might
It's
say,
only because we like him.
as he eats him.
Yeah, I'm gonna cloud.
Would you like to
Memory
explain to
him?
the audience what your cloud memory does, and go ahead and roll me some dice?
By uttering the phrase "forget," the user can make the dominated victim forget the current moment as well as the last few minutes, enough to mask a superficial feeding or chance meeting. No new memories are formed, and if pressed, the victim realizes they have a few minutes missing. So, it's a charisma and dominate versus his wits and resolve.
You'll note that his wits may be very low, but Security Officer Chubb is a resolute individual.
Five successes.
Yeah, I can't.
Chubb knows when he's been beat.
I threw the dice from my hand. I didn't even look at them. 3 resolved though. So even though you have the painful feeding thing, Chubb's not going to remember it. Security Officer Chubb. Respect the
I'm gonna have security
respect the
officer
cloth
Chubb-
badge there, sir.
I'm gonna have security guard Chubb show us where that's the back of that store is, and then
Oh yeah, there. You can see the cloud memory kicking in there. Yeah, there, miss. It's right over there. And sort of points off in a direction. That store there. Hey, did you have your pink pass for the? And he's starting to get woozy.
and then we're gonna fix Sal and Ben's hunger as soon as we get him inside the hallway.
How many blood points is a human worth if you leave him alive?
They are normally 7.
So y'all can satiate some.
We have to leave him alive.
You could also ghoul him.
I struggle with leaving alive.
Then you can
because
keep
I
him
do
alive for a
the
while.
Horrific amounts of damage when I feed.
No. Security Officer Chubb just received. If y'all chose to leave Chubb alive, you just take your 5. I'm going to have you roll willpower to not keep feeding specifically you at 3. I think Ben Sahar, I think they've got a little bit more. Oh. Yeah, you're fine. Salvatore, very willfully, no, we leave Security Officer Chubb alive. And the coterie.
He's a national treasure.
Yeah, we're not gonna. We're national treasure there, Wisconsin Grand Avenue Mall. Premier security officer of the month, 3 years running. 3 months running, really. It's we got that shutdown there.
Chubb's going to become a contact for one of us.
I've got so much bigger plans for Security Officer Chubb. So the party...
Cass is going to break the hickory.
All right. So the coterie heads down the sort of tunnel. We get a shot from the security cam of Security Officer Chubb like flying back out the doors with his own taser, like hitting himself, and his hickory stick like breaking and falling in front of him. Not breaking; it was already broken, but like, and then just and then like people in the security booth who are just like silhouettes, like scuffling about. Because it was still.
Oh, did he have a gun?
No.
Okay.
I mean, certain security forces in Milwaukee are allowed to like live carry. Not Security Officer Chubb. He once shot somebody, and he wasn't allowed to live carry after that. It really.
Speaking of live carry, I need Cass to find us bullets and vests.
It did.
And flares and lots of bullets.
It did some stuff to him. So he stepped down a little bit from his old podium.
Lots of silver bullets.
He's got a backstory and everything.
I was gonna say. He's
Taste
got a
of
backstory like 5
cheap beer
pages
and
long.
summer sausage.
Spoiler, I'm gonna edit this out. Security Officer Chubb actually gets a promotion out of this. You're gonna run into him again.
Cue cloud memory. Well, it won't remember a thing.
All right, so cloud memory works, and we get the shot of the camera and like Chubb stumbling backwards out the door, his own taser, because he reflexively goes to grab it and is, at 2 blood point. You've been drained of most of your pints of blood and stuff, and just way woozy, and reflexively grabs the taser and swings at nothing and hits self. And his Security Officer Chubb will not remember the party, will not remember any of this.
And might have shit
Coterie.
himself.
Coterie. No. Too resolute for that. Look, sir, I learned on my miss, sir. Sorry, my first night on the job, I learned how in Wisconsin to hold my movements. If Schlitz ain't give you the shits, nothing will.
I'll go up to him and say, you know what? I think you need to sit down for a few minutes. You look tired.
Oh, there,
Have a rest.
Ain't had a break in a while now. There, ma'am.
You've earned it. Your service is appreciated.
You're the first person who gets what I do. It's hard.
And don't let anybody tell you that you're not important with what you do. So take a nap. Take a slow. Damn it, Sam. Take a rest.
Y'all just wanted me to do the Chubb accent longer is all it was.
No, at that point, I'm just going to let him sit
yeah.
there and then head towards everyone else as they're making their way to the back of the store.
All right, y'all.
If I didn't already Ghoul RJ, I would have definitely Ghouled Officer Chubb.
I just envision like I can hear the saxophone from Baker Street by Jerry Rafferty playing like, throughout this guy's like entire like downtime. As soon as he like hangs up like his uniform.
Winding my way down on Baker Street.
The moment he gets home and sits in his easy chair, he flips on the TV and it's All in the Family.
Just stares into the middle distance.
Heats up one of those microwave chicken pot pies for his late dinner.
Oh, blue collar America. I feel for you. All right, y'all can make it to the back of the store. Oh gosh. Oh, jeepers.
Did we bring any chair legs?
Who knows? Maybe he brought his own again like last time.
Cass will double back and grab like a broken part of the hickory. That might function as a stake.
All right, yeah. Well, there. Yeah, no, you just go ahead and you make sure you put the old hickory back when you're done with it. He's fully dominated out at this point, right?
Ah, Chubb.
Yeah.
All right. So does the thread lead here, Ben?
Yep.
How are we playing this?
Well, you know it goes in here. It could wiggly wobbly about, but you know it leads in here, right? Like it. You know, it's a store.
Oh, we got.
Assuming
Wait,
we're
why don't
having
we
a
just go in
storm
and
in the
find him?
store.
Can't
Are you
imagine.
taking point? Is Sal taking point?
I can't imagine he has any friends.
Oh well, I don't care.
No. Hidden with your sword. I'll lead.
All right. And then I'm gonna go in after him.
Cass will take up the rear.
But that's what I thought.
You can't watch our back.
Is this door locked?
No, not actually from here.
We'll open the door and step in, immediately checking corners and doors.
All right, you come in. You actually come into a sort of like a small little sort of like landing room where like merch and drop off stuff, a little like counter top is, and some racks for holding extra stuff, and then a second door which does have a lock and like a little keypad on it. Not like a fancy keypad. It's like my dorm room back in college. It's the little like stiff physical buttons, you know, like 1 through 5, that you have to like physically push in and they push back out. That sort of thing.
Anyone good with these kind of things?
I mean, I have a way to open it, but it leaves a mess. For lack of a better term.
Your silver thread doesn't head past that door. It actually goes over into the corner and goes down.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll go ahead and just continue following that then, and then point down and say it goes in here.
All right. So you're on a like essentially a concrete slab floor in this little back room, and it just goes through the concrete down.
There's no handle or anything visible.
You see some like creases where the concrete's poured into like its little slabs and stuff. You can roll investigations and intelligence. I was waiting for folks to say, I'm like, we switched to RLLL playing now.
I was waiting for Ben to let us know what was going on.
Yeah.
I was thinking if anybody was going to say anything after I pointed to the door.
I got 2 successes.
I mean, at a 2, you get a breeze or something, you know, like the equivalent, like you learn the floor's hollow, but you don't reveal how to get down there.
Three successes.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
You said it was intelligence and investigation?
Correct.
I'm not even bothering.
So the two successes, you understand that there's like hollow floor, the air draft, but you can't quite figure it out. At 3, you have an understanding that the little combo on that door over there might be linked to it. Like it's a little bit more sophisticated than your usual time lock from this type of lock from this time period. Like it's got like a little bit more heft to it. You even maybe like catch a little bit of a, sort of like some Masonic style crap going on in how the numbers are drawn. Meaning this is a mechanical contraption on a mythical one, notably.
So would it be reasonable for me to use technology on that?
It would be, yes. Yeah.
And wits, maybe?
Correct, yeah. So you're kind of more trying to figure it out than like memorize the code or go through it algorithmically. You have an understanding of this type of technology. You kind of like place your fingertips on and you can almost like feel.
Holy
Oh! Like, I would imagine with your musical background, this is almost
tapping on it and listening for it.
Yeah. Well, why don't you describe how you figure it out? This is your jam. This is your thing. It's technology. It's got a little bit of you kind of almost like hear the mechanics to it, and you tap on it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Kind of go up to it, crouch down, look at it, tap the casing a little bit to kind of get an idea of what kind of metal we're dealing with. If it's like hollow or if it's like densely packed inside.
It's actually pretty dense. Yeah, there's a really like sort of like stern mechanism here. Yeah.
And then, so one by one, pushing the buttons in to see if there's any give or any kind of sound that differs.
Yeah. It's almost like you can hear like a melody to it, almost like a keyboard or a piano or a harpsichord.
And hearing the differences, and then just trying a few different combinations until something pops.
Yeah, and you essentially go into this like sort of jazz mode, and just and you just kind of figure it out. Like it's not. It doesn't necessarily like make a musical notes with the letters. Nothing that. But there is a
difference.
Right. Yeah, and you kind of like vibe in on that and hit it almost just like a savant. This lock just makes sense to you with 6 successes. You're just like, no, totally. You're fairly certain that in the future, if you encounter something similar, you might have advantage to deal with it.
Sweet.
So, note that down. And you do that, and then one of the, and you see a little like sort of 4x4 square of the concrete floor, like just kind of like sort of depress and like move slightly to the side, not all the way. Mechanics aren't that sophisticated.
Oh, not just another pretty face, eh?
Feels a bit like a sci-fi movie.
Can we take a moment to appreciate how like pure Midwestern I went a little bit ago, and how we just got like a perfect Canadian A? This multilingual stream going on. So this is at the point where like the sophisticated but still basic mechanics limits hit their end, and the floor depresses and moves a little bit over, so you can maybe elbow grease it the rest of the way open, and you've got a sort of basic stone staircase that sort of descends a little bit, lands on a platform, turns, and heads back to get up underneath the store.
If I see Nicolas Cage, I'm going home.
There were no Benjamin Franklins and Independences bills and stuff.
Dowell just kind of turned to Elizabeth, and before descending the staircase, I wish I had known you during the bank days. And I'll walk down the stairs.
We get a flashback to Elizabeth, like the premier safecracker in NA during like the bootlegger era in an alternate reality. Like Tommy guns are going off in the background. Shut the fuck up! And she just got her ear on it, like with the tumbler locks. And like one of those like sweet like pinstripe zoot suits with like the hat and stuff.
Dowell will pull his gun.
Multiple realities can be fun. So you got the stairs landing it goes underneath. Milwaukee does have like a Masonic temple and shit like that. That's why I tied that in here for Grand Avenue Mall. So you head down. It winds into what I can only describe as a dungeon. It is dank. It is made out of brick walls and old school poured concrete floors. No modern technology. It's uneven. It's not squared. It's just old school. You can see the cracks in the foundation rippling out, and you can see makeshift wrought iron bars and cages worked in. And the most sort of disturbing aspect of it all is that there are essentially like laundry and clothing racks mullied out with like hangers and all manner of sort of like macabre desiccations. I can go into detail for those that might be squeamish in horror, but we have shifted a little bit in tone.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and use Unseen Passage and Silence of Death to mask my presence as I follow Sal down this hallway of.
You can see like bags of. You can see like bags of like bags of blood and stuff. You see little like steel slabs, old school style. This is some gnarly like.
Are they full?
Yeah, but not like in the good way. Like they're full, but like this one didn't work. Type thing. So it's like the blood's coagulated in it, and you can see whatever front this business was as. You can see it's gross underbelly of essentially setting folks up with clothes in a vampiric sense. For those of you who have an understanding of vicissitude or other vampiric disciplines, you can wear people.
Some special leather.
And we know Tomlin's a visitor who didn't announce himself. So this is someone. This is a sense of someone else that he is connected to. We kind of knew he might have had a connection. Okay.
Yeah.
Any awareness from what we know of Milwaukee or who we've heard of, like out of the kind of who's who, or is this is kind of a unknown quantity?
You've heard about the gardener. I don't know if I tip my cards that the gardener is a Zamisi.
Yeah, Akawa had also told Sal to seek out the gardener.
If you want to know more about the lake, right? I think was the sort of line you were on with the gardener. Well, the tree,
yeah,
and then
the tree.
Or no, ask Akawa about the lake.
Parade.
Ask the gardener about the tree. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It might have been implied that the gardener was a Zamisi. From none of those descriptions of what the gardener's about, like Akawa's not going to send you into a murder den with body horror to find out about the tree. This is not the gardener style. Turning you into a weird potted house plant or something, maybe. This is not the gardener's work, and that's the only Zamisi that you've heard that might be.
I mean, I've had experience with them, but I don't know anyone here either.
The only person who maybe strikes your mind is that there's a Tremere in the city that's into some weird experiments.
And it's not me.
No, it's not Ben for once. No, it's Dr. Sorry.
Is that Dr. Morbius or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Dr. Mortius?
Yeah, Dr. Mortius is into weird shit.
Okay.
The only one who's like, alley this would be up is Dr. Mortius. A Tremere that sort of hangs around the Marquette campus these days. The other thing is this is a pretty decent understructure. Nosferatu, right? Like there's... they have to know about
Let's go find out.
And this doesn't end, by the way. You can keep proceeding under here.
go find the man behind the curtain.
Does your ribbon lead us this way?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Are you as excited as I am?
No. No, I am not.
Dal starts kind of whistling softly. Probably New York, or some other Sinatra. But it's off tune and out of key.
Why do you insist on doing that?
Oh, I love it. It's like it's so perfectly horror story too, right? Like it's off key and stuff. The ambience builds this like sort of echoey chamber, this off key Sinatra. There are like classic trouble lights, this sort of like orange extension cable, thin metal cage hanging up on little cords, and like wooden beams to support up above, and you can see some sort of actual spotlights that are up on like little posts, like framed and projecting in and behind like sort of a pair of sheets and stuff like that that are hung like drapes and curtains. Go ahead.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Would there have been any kind of sharp implements lying around as we've been making our way through?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to spare the details because it's a horror game, but like some folks have different levels of. But yeah, there's implements.
Yeah, I would like to.
We're not full blown Saw. We're like sweet like 1998 video game like horrorscape right now. I took
it's like Resident Evil.
Yeah.
I would.
Perfect
like
shout.
to...
Yeah, this perfect. Yeah, like Resident Evil Secret Basement. Like perfect shout. Yeah.
If I come across a knife or something sharp, I want to pick it up. And after seeing the first few blood bags, even if they are coagulated, I am going to purposely destroy whatever I can find on the way.
Cool. So you find like a classic bone saw style thing, like cool classic medical. It's got like some tasteful rust on it from dealing with blood, and you just start messing up some of these blood bags. For whatever reason, the coterie can't help but. I've got a Malkavian. I'm going to cheat and use the Malkavian tapped into the network. The Malkavian, as the Malkavian sort of like walking through the scene, is sort of like looking at stones and like the gore of it all, like nothing. It just doesn't even register to Cass. Not even remotely. Like the gore is butterflies. Like it just doesn't. Nothing. Just really like she's a sort of like washed out white brick, and just like Cass is in a totally different place right now. And Cass like sees like instead of these weird like trouble lights and spotlights up ahead, Cass for whatever reason is back on like the baseball field at Miller Park. And is thinking of and it's just like, oh yeah, baseball lights and lighting the field and stuff. And Cass is recalling a conversation with Decker, and Decker bragging about the number of kindred in the city, and how once upon a time there was a Sabbat uprising right at the turn of the millennia, but that got squashed, and no Sabbat clans have been in Milwaukee. And how long? Zamisi are decidedly a Sabbat clan. And that's when we sort of round the corner and we see the remnants of Tomlin on a slab. The thread ends there.
Pictures, photo op.
Done and done.
And you see, like, just on the forehead, liar written in Tomlin's own blood.
What kind of state of decay is he in?
Tomlin didn't go quiet. Tomlin was hurt first, and, like, there's little, like, bone parts and stuff sticking out. but
Well, like decay itself.
is desiccated as a vampire of this age would be. He's not quite 100 years though. He's from like the 70s, right? So
He's a youngin.
Huh? Yeah, just an onion, right? Yeah, I think that's what you
A
said.
youngin.
Oh, to you, yeah. No, he's desiccated, but he's not like a pure, like he's not a total mummy, right? Like he's.
Back in my
But
day.
you immediately recognize the crap clothes. You see the liar, and Tomlin was alive when whatever happened. I'll let imaginations roam free. Whatever happened to Tomlin happened to Tomlin. And the threat again. The threat ends here. It's just, final death has occurred, by the way, but you don't see any like obvious. The money would probably be on. I'm not going to like insult anyone's intelligence. The money would probably be on diablerie. Tomlin was drained.
All right, so just trying to refresh my memory. We brought Decker a body back. Whose body was that? Who did we give him?
We brought the 2 dead werewolves
Gotcha.
that Nails had killed.
Yeah, mortally wounded. They died, but they narratively died later on, right? Like he'd done enough damage to kill them, and got his ass whooped by Issa.
You know, I know it seems a little gruesome, but I don't want to miss this opportunity. Maybe we take him back with us. Kind of twofold. Say, hey, there's some shady shit going on in the basement of this mall. But also, this is why we were looking for this guy, and this is how we found him.
By the way, maybe there's some Sabbat in your town still.
Yeah.
Deckard.
What are you going to bring it back in?
Does he still have legs?
Yeah, it's mostly like spliced open body part type style. Again, I don't want to go into details. It's a horror game, but also people have their own threshold.
Are there any body
Resident
bags?
Resident Evil. Yes. Incidentally, there are like legit, like straight up, like black plastic body, or not plastic, but like black.
I was going to say, or you get a bag that holds a suit because it's a vintage clothes store. Maybe find a suit bag.
Yeah. See, their body bags are suit bags. It's a stylistic choice.
Are there any fresh clothes to apply?
There are some around. Fresh is a matter of perspective.
He can walk himself out if we wish.
How?
Sal just stepped forward over the body, and he, I mean, you said there was plenty of. I imagine I'd be able to find phlegm and bile in some of the other.
Yeah. There's it's like weird surgical nightmare scenes, right? Like there's little like bedpan looking stuffs, and yeah.
So Sal just steps forward, and you see him gather, bile from a corpse, phlegm, and then some of his own blood, and he forms this kind of sticky, congealed mess, and kind of draws patterns on Tomlin, and starts preparing a ceremony of the gift of false life to animate a corpse, and create one of the mindless undead, a mindless corpse that can follow a simple direction. So you see Salvatore
Weekend at Bernie's.
first time, literally dress, kind of like like a funeral director would. I mean, he puts a suit on.
Yeah, he does a full
Tomlin,
thing. Yeah.
Goes through the ceremony, and then I gotta double check.
Yeah, so there's gonna be like a amount of time this takes.
Yeah, player makes a ceremony roll Upon a win, they raise a number of corpses equal to their Oblivion rating on the number of bodies they've prepared, whichever is lower, so 1. And I've got that roll somewhere. Sorry, everyone. First time I've done this.
No, you're explaining to the audience. You're explaining to us all. This is a teaching moment. This is fun.
So Oblivion ceremonies are performed using they require a rouse check and then 5 minutes per level to cast. This is the first level, so it would be 5 minutes. And then
I'm
it's
so
resolve.
glad you ate.
It's resolve plus Oblivion. And difficulty equals ceremony level plus 1. So it'd be a difficulty 2, and it's my resolve plus Oblivion.
Except it's not, because he's got his cool little hand.
Well, I don't, so that's the question.
No, you're back to your normal shit now. Sorry, bro.
Yep.
You lost your
Yep.
your bonus. You sacrificed a loss. By the way, I was totally intending to make you mortal again. So good play. I didn't see that coming. No, I'm serious. I'm like, all right, good play. Good play. Good on you.
So let's see. Resolve plus. How do I do that?
Your Oblivion level.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the.
You should be able to actually click on your
dice
Oblivion
roll.
talent in your character sheet. Well, y'all figure that out. I got to go deliver Wine Wednesday to Lulu. 1 second.
Hey, real quick, Andrew.
Yes,
how
sir.
much longer are we gonna continue?
I think it's finish the scene. Talk to Decker real quick. Is I think where my head's at. Yeah. And so we're not going to go like another half hour or anything like that. We're going to close out. Talk to Decker basically. Because it seems like you're going to head to Elysium. Decker's not usually at Elysium, but tonight he will be by happenstance, so we can have some good closure for this good turn of events, I think. I enjoyed tonight's adventure. I felt like this was a very vampire adventure. You know, sorry.
I rouse the blood successfully, don't gain hunger, and then I have 6 successes, critical success. I just animated the shit out of that corpse.
All right.
Oh wait, just so we're clear, did you literally animate the shit out of the corpse?
we ensure
Or
that
adjacent
it's happened
corpse.
before we raise him.
He is so raised.
That could have been a great mortician.
I mean, he still is because he makes his own bodies.
So I guess with that, do we head back the other direction and get the fuck out of here?
Yes, Sal just gives the
Sounds like
command
a
to
good plan.
follow to what used to be Tomlin.
Are you gonna put your arm around him to explain that he's drunk?
Like, is he shambly or like arms out, brains?
So what's interesting is mindless corpses cannot be mentally dominated or influenced, do not react to motion, words, or interference from anyone but their creator. So they have a standard dice pool, physical 2, health 4. So I mean they move.
They're closer to Walking Dead zombies.
No ability to think or calculate. May be directed towards a specific target for attack. Can't give them like complicated commands.
You can't walk and chew bubblegum.
Yeah, so I mean it's a very limited form, but they have like 2 dice for a physical action, right? Like if they needed to push on a door or something. But you can have them like, hold the door or stay here. Or...
How long are they animated for?
That's a great question. And the mindless corpse's animation ends when it is destroyed or concludes its task. So these corpses do not defend themselves from attacks and decay as normal. Ceremony does not grant them any form of immunity to elements or time.
So I have decided that your critical success is you've got a semi-perma zombie. It's going to continue to like decay in real time, so you can find ways to stall that, and it will continue to follow out sort of like single sentence commands. So you got yourself a permanent zombie. You've got yourself like a sort of like classic crapped zombie minion.
I have my patient 0.
Yeah. So there you go.
Will it be able to climb a ladder on its own, or are we going to have to like
It's got
Yeah,
two dice of physical stuff, so it can
it can do base as long as the body is. Well, I asked if it still had legs, right? Is like
yeah,
it can
it
walk,
likes arms.
can-
It's the torture was brutal, but like it left it intact. The main thing is like the sort of like splayed open like parts.
it's structurally intact, and that's
like like there's rib cage stuff exposed, but like that's about it.
suit coat over that.
How long have we been down here for?
5 minutes plus, probably about another 20.
All right. So as we get back up, I'm going to go ahead and see where our buddy Chubb is, and I'm going to, if he's there, if he's gone. All right. So yeah, I go looking down the hallways and come back and motion to everyone else to come.
Which way? Toward where, like out, or because you're gonna have like rear access and like like you're in the arteries essentially of the Grand Avenue Mall. You can actually like sort of like go into like the way back rooms of a bunch of office buildings. You can head out into parking garages. So you don't need to go back into the mall proper to get out of here by any means.
Easiest way out, quickest way to the truck.
Yeah, that's actually basically like sort of continuing to head past the store, and then you sort of end up in like the sort of like back. If you've ever played Dead Rising video games and stuff like that, the whole like back mall network is what I imagine every single time. Even though I worked like one time in a mall once, and I know it's like not as awesome, but it does exist. You essentially have like tunnels, not tunnels. You essentially have like hallways behind all of the buildings or all of the offices and stuff. The quickest way is to basically just keep heading past and then like head out to a parking garage.
Sure, whichever's quickest and easiest.
Yeah, Chubb is missing, but in your little like quick scouting, you'll notice that there's essentially like paramedics sitting in the area where Chubb was found. Sort of like the nursing area, the vending area. And you can hear them talking about, well, you got camera footage, right? Yeah, like we saw some people go in there. We don't know what happened to Chubb. He says that he met some friends, and you hear them, but he doesn't remember them, and he can't describe them. And you hear like a weird exchange going on between like paramedics and like what must be some sort of like incident report going on. But they have some camera footage of some folks going back here. Could be a future problem. Who knows? No direct masquerade breach, though, or anything like that. Just some people went into the back area of a mall. So you glean that as you head out into the parking garage, you get back to the truck, and you can make your way to Elysium, or do you need to regroup after this new information?
Let's go find Decker.
All right. So Decker usually hangs out at the Mitchell Gardens, but this night there happens to be this pretty awesome art show about perspective. So Decker has made an appearance along with another number of what would be in a different city primogens and stuff like that, but Milwaukee has sort of done away with its elder council because they're just, quite frankly, I mean, they're not hip and with it anymore. It's a very archaic way of doing stuff when you're at war with werewolves. And notably, the woman everyone thought would be Prince, the former Torador Primogen, is sort of like hosting it. Real quick, gotta check her name. Abigail Winters is on hand as well. It's almost as if this perspective ball has been put on for her, and the security agency is on hand as well.
Do any of you three have good relations with Decker?
Neutral.
So, Christian, Anton Nedham, who's Gangrel, and Lucy Evans are there, along with Decker. And
Christian is the one that was scheming against him, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's honor, isn't it?
Well, it was Honor. It was a Nosferatu that we didn't recognize,
Christian.
and Issa.
Yeah.
We didn't mention Honor because we didn't want to pick a fight with him first day.
Right. We left that out.
Yeah, so vampires of note are Arjun Shah, who's the sort of Decker's what would be sheriff, sort of head of security type. Brought in this British security agency that's helped bring Decker a lot of like firepower, high-tech security systems for the city that helps lend Milwaukee its name as being a vampire police state. And stuff along those lines. Anton Nedham, who's a street journalist, he was the former Herald of Milwaukee, but he's like an old school like beat journalist, and is by his reputation unaffiliated but sympathetic to Honor.
Gotcha. So
And-
next session could be kind of neat if we kick around here after we drop some of our good news on Decker.
Right, and you've got Christian obviously and Abigail Winters. So there are some hullabaloo. There's some high to do with the Elysium, and we can have like if Pix returns to us next week, we can have her like kick in the door and show up and have like all kinds of crazy drama. We'll talk to her and see what's going on. We'll talk to Abby, see what's going on with her character.
Pix drama's best drama.
Yeah, Pix drama can show up with Pix can show up with some drama. But yeah, so it's this whole like gala, this perspectives ball going on, and many kindred notables of Kindred Society are here, though not all. Akawa is noticeably missing, and that might be foreshadowing for something. But yeah, so y'all roll up. You see this little bit of this gala going on. The lights, almost like these, to bring some lighting continuity to it, almost like these like Milwaukee ballpark, Milwaukee Brewer lights are like cast over the Discovery Center, so that it casts this like shadow of this like flying bird crane out into the Lake Michigan even further type thing, and it just sort of sets up this whole perspective thing with the shadows and the lighting and so on and so forth. So it's a kind of a big deal tonight. You just by happenstance are here.
Well, I think it's time to go crash the party.
And
Cass
avoid these
sound.
places. Anything I should know, Elizabeth?
Well, why don't you and Cass stick out here, get our friend here ready for inspection, kind of pulling on Cass's military history a little bit, and I will head in with Ben, and we'll see if we can get Decker out here to come take a look. Hopefully away from prying eyes as much as we can, but there's going to be some onlookers. Ben, okay with you?
For sure, me.
10-4.
I'm going to grab a cloth out of the like somewhere from Ben's truck if he has one, just like clean my boots finally, officially, so I don't track shit into.
Luck check.
How do I roll that?
Just a D10.
You don't think an egomaniac like Ben in this expensive truck wouldn't have some?
Oh, of
free strikes or
course,
something?
Ben has some like remanicure themselves type equipment ready to go. 2. See, on Elizabeth's way out the store before, she saw a very nice pair of boots. They weren't in her size.
Oh, I was just wanting to clean off mine.
Yeah, no, you clean yours off. I just with a good luck check, you would have replaced your boots.
Gotcha.
So, the astute eye will notice that your boots are a little disheveled, but you clean them. Ben's got like You're like you're rifling through Ben's truck, and they walk up and they're just like, "Excuse me," and they just like pull down the back seat, and there's like all kinds of ways to go. Like you see like weapons interspersed with like stuff
Shoe
like
shag.
yeah, get your stuff like ready and pristine. Ben keeps themselves like up. They care. I mean, you do change your outfit week to week, so you got to have like a good arsenal.
Effectively, we've played, 3 or 4 nights of Sahar? I've had, 7 outfits.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to start heading towards the door. Slow enough to make sure Ben is kind of with me and then pick up pace a little bit. Once we get to the doors into the hard surfaced areas, I'm going to make sure that my boots are noisy. I know it's a trick I picked up from wearing combat boots, like knowing how to walk to make them click, click, click.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make sure that people see us coming in. I want to attempt to get close to Decker, tell him, hey, we've got some things to show you like before. Can you come out and take a quick look? Don't want to make too much of a scene here right now, but we've had some success.
Okay. So, again, it's Abigail Winters and Decker are currently locked in conversation. You see the she who would be Prince, Lucy Evans, sort of like standing like just on the periphery of the conversation, in it but not in it type thing, nursing a glass of actual wine because she can enjoy it, swirling a nice cabaret, and then there's actually Gein present because it is a gala, helps the cover, but there's this like mystique over the whole evening, like you're all kindred, so it doesn't directly affect y'all. But there is like almost like this intoxicating aura that you can see all the kind, whether they're drinking or not, are like party to. Okay. You see Anton going around like with a tape recorder, old school, like 90s, trying to get like statements and like has a camera person with them taking photos and stuff like that. And Decker, you with this sort of pronounced entrance, like looks at Abigail. Go ahead and roll wits and insight. Everyone who's present. So I think it's you and would be Ben.
Yeah.
That's probably catches Sel muttering to Tomlin
5.
about not being handsome enough to be inside.
You notice, so Decker's kind of hot cold as an individual. You've seen sort of the two sides of the Decker coin. The very like public face around the kind, workers are the real soldiers, and you've seen this very intense sort of wartime general who's I don't want to say losing their mind, but like becoming hyper paranoid, so on and so forth. And you see this in this moment, you see this like fatigue, annoyance, reluctance, as he does what's proper etiquette with this emissary from Chicago. But you also see this almost dismissive, like, yeah, fine, type thing. And he just makes the good. He plays it off really well. But with 5, with your roll of 5, like you pick up on that subtextual, like going through the motions, the annoyance, the like, all right, whatever. I've got important business over here, type thing. We've got some werewolf problems. and he sort of like plays the werewolf card to get out of this thing that he didn't want to be engaged in anyway. And you kind of pick up on that body language from Decker. Abigail Winters, on the other hand, Ms. Winters, she's a steel volt. Even at 5, no read. You maybe catch a purse of the lifts, and just like a really good, properly sort of decorum. She's visiting another prince's fief after all. What he says goes. And Decker comes over.
Comes over to me or comes outside?
To you, you've sort of pronounced yourself like you're in the area. You will note that Abigail heads over to the balcony and stares out over Lake Michigan as she sort of moves out your periphery, and Decker enters yours.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll give him the spiel. It's like, hey, we've got something to show you. We've tied up a few more loose ends to the problem that we were looking into before. Can you come take a look?
He regards you a minute. You've already saved him from an awkward situation. He's already used you as a sort of like get a jail type card in the social situation. He goes along with it, and he even gives it a degree of propriety and weight in his sort of like looking over at his like various Anubi who are present and just being like, type thing, and goes with you and Ben. The Anubi, notably, because you kind of like handled the situation well, the Anubi actually kind of like contained the other kindred inside.
Bonus. Does Ben want to say anything to him before we take him outside?
All right.
Nope.
Yeah, so we'll take him out. We'll bring him close up to Talman, where Talman's standing. It's like, does this guy look familiar to you at all?
So, the evening being about perspective, all the lights are like blasting on the museum and Lake Michigan and stuff, and y'all have like parked perfectly in the shadows, right, off away from all that. Decker regards the corpse. No, should he?
No, because he didn't present himself when he came into your city. This is the one that has been leaking our secrets to Gein. So we have something else to show. And with that, I'll take out my camera and say, this was the singer singing about Gein. This is the vampire that was telling her about it. Normally it'd be, oh yay, hey, good job, we're all done, but we found him somewhere that I think you might want to know about. And I'll look at one of the other 3 to kind of take over this part of it, because I wouldn't be able to describe it as well as some of them may be able to.
So Decker recognizes Athena on your phone, or if you took a physical photograph or a Polaroid, whatever. What type of photo am I looking at here?
One that he won't get pissed off at breaking the masquerade by using technology.
Polaroid. Old school. It ties into like the weird like flashback to the 90s every now and then vibe that we're playing a game that's like simultaneously in the 90s but in the 2020s. Yeah. So you get like a fucking Polaroid. And Decker recognizes Athena.
Fucking Instax.
Yeah. Right on. Just like it doesn't recognize Tomlin, recognizes Athena, is processing your story. Do others interject about where Tomlin was found, or
catacombs under the mall?
There may be some sabbats lingering about.
y'all can roll your insight, wisdom, as Decker's face contorts to the word Sabbat.
Three successes.
I see Elizabeth Harker with 6. You see genuine surprise. Like, when you say Sabat, you see...
Critical success at that.
Yeah, critical success. You see anger and confusion. Like, just straight up. And you can kind of corroborate it with your 3. He's surprised. You maybe don't pick up on the anger. Well, anger's a stronger emotion. You pick up the anger a little bit, but, like, the surprise is what you're more looking out for when you're trying to be insightful, right? Like, if he's sincere in his anger. So, you get the anger, sure, but you see the surprise. And he's just like, no, they failed. We fucked them. They're gone.
Somebody killed this man. Left his corpse a ruined mess.
Somebody brought it back. Your handiwork.
May I keep him?
Keep him out of sight, sure. So brought her back, we got... Fuck! Fuck! He says, and he just, like, turns his back away. Fuck! He's just, like, looking, shaking his head. I should have listened to Jacob. No, fuck that fucking... Fuck that guy. Fuck him. Fuck! He turns back around. Alright. Alright. Here's what I'm going to need you to do. I need I can't put a newbie on this. The walls could fall at any time. I can't spare them. So I'm going to need I'm going to need people to solve the Sabat problem before it festers or grows. I'm going to need to know more. He's looking at the party as if maybe this is a moment where they say something. The coterie.
Keep our eyes out, yeah.
Is this a tonight problem or is this a tomorrow night problem?
This is I think you're more than citizens problem. This is, I think, you're a force. Names have power. I'll leave you to figuring that out. You're promoted. This is war. And we have some insurgents.
Are there any other places that they infested?
The old asylum. They're, the Nosferatu. Part of the reason I did away with the Elder Council is their primogen was Sabat through and through. Sold us out down the river. Nearly fucked this city back when the old prince died. Almost took it. He almost took it. That's Christian's sire. Christian might know something about that.
You trust him?
I don't trust Nosferatu. I trust Christian. But he's a little dicey with his sire, understandably so. The person who offed him in the end was Christian, though. You gotta bear in mind. It's hard to overcome a blood bond during it. I've only known 2 people to do that. And the other one was centuries ago. Fuck, Sabat. I thought they all... Why fucking Milwaukee to begin with? Fucking Canada, fucking Mexico, and he just starts swearing. Because Sabat strongholds. Shit. All right. You're a force. You're promoted. So this is the one who was sending. This was the masquerade threat. And the other one's dealt with, and he stares at the Polaroid. So I don't have to worry about Athena anymore.
Correct. The human Athena is no longer with us.
You still need to lie to him. This is a subterfuge. Charisma.
All right.
Are you gonna rouse for 2 extra dice?
Was just thinking about it. I mean, I've already got 6 dice on this.
You can willpower 2 to reroll 2.
Willpower restores when you rest.
Yeah, at least the one. Yeah, there's damage and there's other, but yeah, if you're spending one right now, you'll get a willpower when you rest at the very least.
Versus rousing, I take
Blood.
a hunger.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do both.
Correct.
If needs be. Okay, so I don't have any disciplines that'll help this. What could possibly go wrong?
Would he notice?
Might want to go with this.
Would he notice her rousing while she does it?
No, you don't necessarily. No, rousing the blood. No. If it's a bestial failure or a messy, yes. But if you just rouse straight out, like you're just using your blood, it's fine.
All right, so can I do that? Not using disciplines. Rolling subterfuge.
Mm-hmm. Charisma or manipulation, you're higher.
Charisma is my highest.
I feel like you were particular with your words enough to where it's not like a flat out manipulation, right? You're either wax on the charisma, right? You're either, yeah. So it's your choice. But it is a subterfuge. You are, this was.
Let's see if this works.
All right.
Okay, so
you gain a hunger, but you still get your 2 dice to your pool.
All right. Let's try to figure out how to add 2 dice to this. So subterfuge.
See, this
modifier.
This is something that somebody who's helped design the Coyote and Crow interface for this could maybe work on some all right, where are we at?
3 successes.
All right, so you can spend a willpower and reroll 2 dice.
All right.
Can't be hunger dice, but you're fine there.
So then I think, what's this button do? All right, so use my willpower. It re-rolled all my
so
blank dice.
You re-rolled just full, that was just a willpower check. You need to roll 2 dice. It's fine. We're gonna shorthand this tonight. I'm going to give you those 2 dice. So you got,
gotcha.
So you got 5, but you're just re-rolling 2 of the ones you already failed. We got to figure out the system for this to begin with.
Gotcha.
Cass.
So then 5 successes.
Yeah, 5 successes. So Cass, you're gonna roll your insight as this is happening in real time. Bing, 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 bing. This is all happening.
Cass got 5 successes.
Fantastic. I love it. All right. So what we have here is we have a little bit of a political triangle. Cass has an understanding of what Elizabeth just said, and has a little bit of a history with Decker as the Malkavian left in the city, right? Decker has a little bit of a stalemate with Elizabeth. You read the facial expressions. You're not sure if he believes her or not. But you've seen him when he straight up doesn't believe somebody. But you've also seen him sort of buy in. You're not sure. It's like there's a stalemate or a push or something there. All right. And he takes the photo. Consider that loose end tied up. We care about this. You care about the Sabbat now. I have duties. He points back at the... You're free to enjoy the gala, if you wish.
Right, sorry. We'll be in there momentarily. We just got to make sure our new friend here is safe.
Yeah.
He's my +1.
No, he stinks. No. There's too many kind. Come on. I'm giving you
I just
pass here.
I'm not a comic. I understand it fell a little flat. I know he stays in the car.
Right. Sorry, my...
Sabbat. On edge. Understood.
Too much on my mind right now. I'm sorry. Look, I wasn't sure about y'all before. Still not sure. And fuck if anybody's gotten on my good side lately. I feel like being worried about that is almost like a good endorsement for you. He turns and he walks away. And you hear a little bit of like that Joker crack voice thing happen, you know, in his laugh. Like there's two Deckers conflicted. Decker turns and walks away. Y'all can get your moment to think. We see like a drunken Pix in the periphery or something like that. I don't know. But we'll call it here for the evening, so everyone can go on their way.
High five, everyone.
This is a great vampire adventure.
L high fives Tomlin.
Yeah.
Can't fall off.
Yeah.
Do we seriously get a bonus point for that?
Yes. Yeah, you get 1 bonus XP for the bad pun wars that happened, and you're gonna get another tray for the evening as well. So 4 XP total.
Nothing for lying to the prince.
That's why you didn't get just 2. The shadow games that are going on. Like I don't like going like too like just as planned like political intrigue crap, but I like to have it in there to like keep the stakes good, right? And that was like the right amount for me. Like it was perfect, right? Like have it come down to like a good conversation and like a pivotal role. I enjoyed this adventure tonight. I hope I did the right amount of like horror, but not going like too explicit with the gore and stuff. So to get across like, hey, it's a Zamisi horror scene, but like not, you know, the Resident Evil thing was like perfect, like a perfect way to describe it, right? Where you're like, yeah, Resident Evil, like you go into the basement, like right, like that was excellent. So really good filter for that. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, everyone, you're all getting XP at. It's all together. I don't do individual XP. If an individual earns XP for a bonus sweet moment, the whole party gets it. What does that do? It incentivizes everybody to be awesome at all times. Like, right?